Go anywhere. Before we do anything, I just want to let the replay crew know, yes, there will be timestamps added to this live stream a little bit later on this evening. And before I get started, I'm just going to wait for some friends to start to come on in, and then we shall start the live stream. So until then, I'm going to set up the chats. That looks good. As you guys are starting to come in, please let me know that you are here so I can say hello. Hello, hello, my friends, because I can see when people start to come in, but if you guys don't say that who you are, I'm not going to know who you are. Okay, there we go. How's everybody doing? It is cold here in LA. I just put my heat on, in fact. It's cold and it's raining. I got the lights on behind me. I got the ring lights hopping and popping over here. And I got some amazing information to share with you guys today about the John O'Keefe case, of which I'm going to be very transparent. I know next to nothing. I know who he was. I know what they say happened, and that's pretty much all I in fact know. I know that there was like a bit of a zoo surrounding the case with his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend, Karen Reed. Honestly, that's all I know. I have not ever even looked at his Wikipedia page, which I'm going to do with you guys for the first time. I know next to nothing about this case. So I have a feeling you guys are probably going to know a lot more than I know, and I am perfectly okay with that. Hello, Allie, my darling. Oh, hey now. You will be in Los Angeles for a concert in March. Please hit me up when you get here. Please email me. Let me know that you're here. And if you would love to meet up, I would like to as well. Hey, Simone. So happy that you're here, honey. I know. I'm excited about this live as well. This is our second live this week so far, and we also have the Friday hang tomorrow. So this is just going to be like a very, very exciting week. Lots of content, so much to share. So excited with you guys, and frankly, I would much rather like go live and hang out with you guys and do this than record a video and then post it later. There's like no community interaction. Especially a case like this, there tends to be like a lot of questions that come in real time. So I feel like this is just it's just a better way to handle this because you guys can ask questions in real time. I can answer it in real time, and I get to hang out with you guys. We get to have fun rather than me just like recording and editing and uploading. Like, let's just have fun, y'all, right? Hello, halfway. Simone, so much to look forward to. I agree, so much to look forward to. So I'm just gonna wait a few more minutes before some more friends start to come on in, and then we're gonna go over the facts of the case, which I'm actually gonna be reading with you guys on Wikipedia for the first time. I've never read the Wikipedia page. I know almost next to nothing about the case. So replay crew, again, there's absolutely going to be timestamps. Please feel free if you are already up to date on all of the facts of the case. You can absolutely, if you're part of the replay crew, skip it and just go to the energy reading on Mr. O'Keefe. So let's get situated over here. I have a little introduction from ChatGPT, which I'm going to read to you guys. Then we will look at the 3D facts of the case. Allie, I know absolutely nothing about the case, so it will be interesting. You know what, honey? You are in good company because I also know almost next to nothing about the case. I also know next to nothing about the Karen Reed trial, but I have a feeling we're going to discuss that as well in the 3D facts because it is actually pertinent and relevant to what John's energy had shared with me. So we're going to touch upon that as well. So here we go. Here is the introduction into the John O'Keefe case and the energy reading. John O'Keefe And I'm already starting by like stumbling over my own teeth. Great start, Faye. Here we go for real. You know what? I need a pen in my hand. Now it'll all be better. Okay. John O'Keefe was a Boston police officer, a well-liked, respected man with deep roots in his community. In January of 2022, he was found unresponsive outside the home of another officer after a night out. And the circumstances surrounding his crossing over immediately sent off shockwaves in Massachusetts. Very quickly, the story became tangled. Instead of clarity, we got contradictions. Instead of straightforward timelines, we got a maze. This is according to ChatGPT, who wrote the intro for me, because again, I know next to nothing about the case. So if you're hearing this and you're like, that doesn't line up, you can blame my ChatGPT for leading me astray. And at the center of that chaos was his then girlfriend, Karen Reed, whose arrest, trial, and public defense turned this case into one of the most polarizing, emotionally charged courtroom battles that state has ever seen. For many people, this case became a zoo. Accusations flying in every direction, community divisions, media frenzy, people choosing sides, and a narrative that seemed to shift every single week. But when I tuned into John's energy, none of that chaos was present. His energy isn't scattered. It isn't confused. It isn't inconsistent. He comes through thoughtful, articulate, and surprisingly precise about what led to his demise, and equally clear about how he feels about Karen and the city of Canton now. So, today, I'm not reading the headlines, although I will be reading from the Wikipedia page. I'm not reading the back and forth. What I am reading is him. His energetic perspective paints a very different picture than the noise we've seen around this case. And that is what I'm excited to share with you guys. So, now I'm going to hop on over to Wikipedia and I'm going to pull up the facts of this case, which I should have done probably before I sat down, but didn't, because I had to get my footstool. You know, priorities over here, guys. I had to prioritize. I had to put on my heat. That's honestly what I needed to do. Okay. Hello, Pratha. Hey, Kristen, I'm happy that you're here. Hello, Jimmy Sweat. Okay, so here is some facts about the John O'Keefe case according to his Wikipedia page, which this is the first time that I am looking at it. So if I stop to kind of like peruse it and see what I'm going to be adding, that's just because I've never looked at it, not once, not before, not ever, and doing it right now for the first time with you guys. So according to the Wikipedia page, the unaliving of John O'Keefe took place at 6:03 a.m. on January 29th, 2022, when O'Keefe, an officer at the Boston Police Department, was found unconscious on the front lawn of fellow Boston police officer Brian Albert in Canton, Massachusetts. Oh, that's... Okay, now I know who Brian is. Because in the reading, he told me Brian, and I was like, who the fuck is Brian? But okay, I'm going with it. It actually makes a lot more sense now. Okay. O'Keefe's girlfriend, financial analyst Karen Reed, had dropped him off at a party at the Albert household shortly after midnight and returned early that morning to find his body. O'Keefe was declared unalived at 7:59 a.m. at the local hospital. An autopsy performed 2 days later found that he had crossed over of impact injuries to the head although the manner of death was undetermined. Reed was subsequently arrested and charged with manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide, and leaving the scene of a motor vehicle collision causing the unaliving of a person. Reed's defense team alleged that O'Keefe was unalived at the hands of another person intentionally, because I can't say the word, I have to kind of dance around it, inside the Albert household, and that the police officers involved in the case used their resources to taint the investigation and frame Reed. Following a grand jury indictment, Reed's charges were upgraded to second-degree unaliving, manslaughter while operating under the influence of alcohol, and leaving the scene of personal injury and the crossing over of a person. Reed's first criminal trial resulted in a mistrial on July 1st, 2024, due to a hung jury. She was tried for a second time beginning on April 1st, 2025, and ultimately found not guilty on all three major charges. She was found guilty of operating a vehicle under the influence, receiving the standard sentence of 1 year of probation. The case drew national attention due to local journalist Aidan Kearney's investigation of evidence of foul play in the unaliving of O'Keefe. His multi-part series, called Canton Cover-Up, exposes the close relationship between law enforcement and those who were present at the Albert household on the night of O'Keefe's crossing over. Simone said, so messed up how they tried to pin it all on Karen, shaking my head, right? Hello, Garage Brewing since 2020. That is an excellent handle, by the way. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else here that I think is maybe relevant. Otherwise, I feel like the first couple of paragraphs of the Wikipedia page did a really, really good job of kind of like catching us up to speed of what this case was about. Okay, O'Keefe and Reed met in 2004 and dated briefly. They rekindled their relationship in 2020 after connecting over Facebook. Okay, let's see what else is here. On the night of the incident, Reed met O'Keefe for drinks at a local bar at 9 p.m. and they had moved to an establishment across the street, the Waterfall Bar and Grill, shortly before 11 p.m. There, the couple met up with a group of acquaintances, including a fellow Boston Police detective officer, Brian Albert, and his wife, Nicole. As the bar was closing, the group was invited to the Albert household at, I don't know if I should say the address, even if you guys could find it online, where their son was celebrating his 23rd birthday with friends and family. Security footage shows Reed and O'Keefe leaving the establishment together at 12:11 a.m. How old are these people? Jesus! Like, I'm sorry, I kind of had the idea they were maybe in their 30s and their 40s, and they're like out partying until midnight and beyond. Wow, I mean, I gotta give it to them. They had some energy, some longevity. Like at 12:11, I am firmly rooted in my bed with a book. Like, you cannot pay me to be out at a bar drinking at midnight. No way, no how. But okay, that's my business, not theirs. Other individuals invited to, and by the way, if you don't like a little bit of snark with your psychic energy reading, I might not be the reader for you. Because here, there's definitely going to be snark. And I'm okay with that. And it's my channel, so there's going to be snark anyway. Other individuals invited to the Albert household from the Waterfall that night included Nicole Albert's sister, Jennifer McCabe, and her husband, Matthew McCabe, as well as Brian Higgins, an agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Reed drove O'Keefe in her Lexus, how nice, to the Albert household, although she was unfamiliar with the neighborhood. Jennifer McCabe called O'Keefe at 12:14 a.m. to give them directions. She and her husband arrived at the house at 12:18 a.m. Reed and O'Keefe pulled up in front of the house approximately 6 minutes later with O'Keefe's cell phone activity data showing the closure of a navigating app at 12:24 a.m. and his cell phone location data showing the cell phone stopping in front of the address at 12:24 a.m. Okay, I'm starting to feel like this is getting really heavy. Like, do we need all of this back and forth information? I don't know. Miguel from Brazil. Thank you for letting me know that's your name, Garage Brewing, that it's Miguel. Hello, Ajira, my darling. I'm glad that you are here. I am not Catholic. I don't think that matters, does it? I mean, just wondering, do you choose your content creators based on their religious affiliation? I don't have any objection to that if you do. I mean, if so, you do you, boo, but I personally do not. Like, I choose it based on the merit of the content, not the person's religious affiliation. According to Reed, the couple remained in the car as Reed felt uncomfortable going inside. Between 12:24 and 12:36, O'Keefe's cell phone activity data recorded no movement. At 12:27, by the way, is it not wild how much our cell phones know about us? Like, no movement? Okay, that's a little creepy, but whatever. At 12:27, O'Keefe's cell phone received an iMessage from Jennifer reading, quote, "Here!" exclamation and question mark, which the phone recorded as read at 12:27 a.m. At 12:29, this is really becoming tedious. I'm not going to read all of this, guys, I promise. Let me just kind of skip this. No, just some logistics about parking, and then no further movement was recorded on the phone until 6 a.m. Reed claimed she watched O'Keefe enter the house, but Brian Albert Sr., Nicole Albert, Brian Albert Jr., Caitlin Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, Sarah Levinson, and Julie Nagel have testified that they were in the house throughout the time and did not see O'Keefe. Reed claims she grew impatient when O'Keefe did not come back out of the Albert household and started driving off towards O'Keefe's house. Around the time she departed that house, which I'm not giving the address of, her car recorded a text stream trigger event, the exact cause and timing of which would become points of dispute at her criminal trial. Such trigger events can have several causes, including excessive acceleration, steering, or braking, but no collision per se. Between 12:33 and 12:36, O'Keefe's cell phone recorded 7 unanswered calls from Reed. Reed connected to the Wi-Fi at O'Keefe's house at 12:36 a.m. After arriving there, she left him a succession of voicemails and iMessages. Okay, that does, just 2% personal opinion, that does not lead to any, I mean, my conclusion reading that, that's not a healthy relationship. Like, chill yourself, lady. At 12:37, Reed stated in a voicemail, oh my, okay, this just proves the point. This was not a healthy relationship. Because at 12:37, Reed stated in a voicemail, quote, "John, I fucking hate you," end quote. At 12:59 a.m., she stated, quote, "John, I'm here with the fucking kids. Nobody knows where the fuck you are, you fucking pervert." End quote. "Karen, tell us how you really felt about John." At 1:10 a.m., she stated, quote, "It's 1 a.m. I'm with your..." I have to give a little sauce to it because I imagine like this is the way she would have left the message as well. "It's 1 a.m. I'm with your fucking niece and your nephew." Why is she calling him a pervert anyway? "You fucking pervert. You're a fucking pervert." End quote. At 1:17 a.m., she stated, quote, "John, I'm going home. I cannot believe..." Something that was inaudible. "I need to go home. You are fucking using me right now. You're fucking another girl." O'Keefe's niece, it's put in parentheses because I guess I didn't want to put the niece's name. is sleeping next to me. You're a fucking loser. Fuck yourself. End quote. I mean, I have to say, it's probably gratuitous to read all of this, but it is definitely worth it for the shock value. I can definitely say that. And pure entertainment factor. Reed's last call attempt for several hours was at 1:18 a.m. before falling asleep next to O'Keefe's niece. So there, she didn't really leave in the end. Karen, your threats were empty. Meanwhile, at 12:40 a.m., O'Keefe's cell phone received an unread iMessage from Jennifer McCabe saying hello. At 12:42 a.m., it received an unread iMessage from McCabe saying, quote, where are you? Oh, she's one of those texters. She didn't write you, Y-O-U, she put it in a U. If she was a guy, I would not date her. I cannot get down with people that are lazy texters. Like, seriously, girl, like, how much time did you actually save by doing you, the letter, and not Y-O-U? But I digress. Anyway, she sent a text, where are you? At 12:45 a.m., it received another unread iMessage from McCabe saying hello. Over the course of the night, O'Keefe's cell phone recorded the following drop in battery temperature. I'm not going to do all of them. Ain't nobody got time for that. But at 12:37 a.m., it was 72 degrees Fahrenheit. We're getting there, Jada. We're getting there. I first got to outline the facts of the case, darling. And then at 6:35 a.m., it registered 37 degrees Fahrenheit. At 4:38 a.m., Reed awoke and resumed trying to call O'Keefe. At 4:53, I guess he wasn't a pervert at that hour. At 4:53 a.m., she called Jennifer McCabe from the niece's phone, why not her phone, but okay, asking her to help look for O'Keefe. At 5 a.m., Reed called Carrie Roberts, a friend of O'Keefe's, to join them. Roberts later testified that Reed initially yelled over the phone, I can't say the entire quote, but John is unalived, Carrie, end quote, and hung up. In a subsequent call, explained to Roberts that she feared John was no longer alive and then he might have gotten hit by a snowplow. O'Keefe's niece later testified that she heard Reed say on the phone statements to the effect of, quote, could I have done something? End quote. Quote, could he have been hit by a plow? End quote. And, quote, maybe I, hit him, end quote. At 5, by the way, if you guys are here for all of this so far and you already know the facts of the case, I appreciate you because I didn't know any of this. So I'm in part reading it to actually educate myself at the same time. At 5:07 a.m., Reed was seen on O'Keefe's home's Ring security camera backing out of his garage in her Lexus. She visibly bumped O'Keefe's parked car, and the footage shows O'Keefe's car moving slightly as the cars made contact. Okay, at around 6 a.m., Reed, McCabe, and Roberts arrived at the house's address that I'm not sharing, where Reed spotted O'Keefe's body near a flagpole in the front yard. Amid this discovery and subsequent emergency responses, at 6:04 a.m., O'Keefe's cell phone health data registered the phone's first movement since 12:32 a.m. Jennifer and two paramedics later testified at the scene of the response. Reed repeatedly stated, quote, I hit him, end quote. But Reed later insisted in interviews she only asked someone to the effects of, quote, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? End quote. I'm not going through the entire investigation. We will be here for fucking ever. I'm just going to skim it very quickly. Okay, this is interesting. A trooper by the name of Michael D. Proctor was the lead investigator of the case, and he was fired on March 19, 2025 due to his actions during the investigation of O'Keefe's unaliving, including having, quote, sent derogatory, defamatory, disparaging, and or otherwise inappropriate text messages about a suspect in that investigation to other individuals, end quote, and, quote, provided sensitive and or potentially investigative steps in investigation to non-law enforcement personnel, end quote. So apparently 16 hours into the investigation, he had discussed the case, oh God, in a group text with his high school friends. That is not professional. And he had written, quote, they won't be able to prove, end quote, that Reed had hit O'Keefe with her car. This is 16 hours in the investigation. Like, how the fuck did he know that? And that, quote, all the powers that be want answers ASAP, end quote. He also referred to Reed as, quote, a whack job, oh, I'm not going to say that, C-U-N-T, saying she's fucked and zero chance she skates, end quote. This is interesting. On February 2nd, 2022, within hours of Reed's arraignment, her attorney received an anonymous phone call from a man who claimed to have a background in Boston law enforcement. The man alleged that Brian Albert and his nephew Colin Albert had beaten O'Keefe and caused his unaliving, and that afterwards Brian and an unnamed federal agent, now known to be someone with the last name Higgins, dragged O'Keefe's body onto the lawn. This anonymous caller was revealed to be Stephen Scanlon, a local private investigator who gave a statement to authorities confirming that he had sent the tip to the attorney. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to quickly read through the legal actually, let me catch up on comments first. Then I'll read through the legal proceedings, and then let's get to the energy reading. Because, I mean, that's what you guys are here for, right? I certainly know that Jada wants to know who did it, and I promise you, you will know by the end of this reading. Thank you for the reminder. As Simone had called out, remember to hit the like button. Thank you, honey. Kristen said, that's right, Simone. Miguel said, oh, thank you, honey, Miguel. Like. Guys, if you are watching this right now, please do hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate you guys. Jada Love, who unalive John? Let us know, Faye. I promise I will, girlfriend. Simone, I can't stand when someone spells am instead of I'm, LOL. I really am a grammar snob, by the way. Okay, this is totally like an aside, but it's like an amusing aside, so I'll share it anyway. So I had months ago matched with somebody. If you've been here for a while, you know I have weird experiences with the dating apps. But I had matched with somebody on an app, and I would say within the first day I knew it was unequivocally not going to work out because he was like an abbreviator. But I'm talking like an aggressive abbreviator. Like definitely, you know, U became the letter U. Like I couldn't even get a full fucking sentence out of him without him abbreviating something. And I was like, this just to me is a reflection of effort. Like if someone this early on in trying to establish some sort of a perhaps potential connection with somebody, if this early on they can't even put adequate effort into typing out full sentences, no successful long-term prognosis. So I very quickly realized it wasn't going to happen, and I was like, yeah, no, sorry, you're an abbreviator. I don't do abbreviations. See ya. So I'm with you, Simone. I cannot do abbreviations. It's like, where are you going? Why are you in such a hurry that you can't type full sentences? You know what I mean? Jada Love, I can't wait to hear it. Can you do a separate video on Charlie Kirk? That would be nice. Eventually I will, and I'm also going to do a video on his wife because I've already channeled her. Can you do a video on Eric? Yes, I will do one. And who had unalive Charlie? Ajira. Wow, very inappropriate and unprofessional on his part, right? That's why he had been fired. Hello, Michelle. I'm glad that you are here, darling. Oh, go me. Okay, I caught up on comments. Okay, so I'm going to do a very, very brief look through of the trial. Because again, I feel like at the top of the video, it had done an excellent job in kind of laying out that Karen Reed was tried, she was acquitted, it was a hung jury, she was tried again, and she was acquitted. So like, I don't know if we need to go into all the minutia of it, you know what I mean? She pled not guilty, I mean, that's a duh. A grand jury had indicted her of second-degree unaliving. First trial, her attorneys had tried to dismiss the case due to alleged conflicts of interest and a federal crash reconstruction determining that O'Keefe's injuries were inconsistent with the damage to Reed's car. However, the judge denied the motion. Okay, the trial started. Prosecutors asked the judge to block Reed's lawyers from... What now? Okay, I can see why this case picked up some legs. Like, I mean, unless Wikipedia is flat out lying, within like the first line of this, I'm like, that doesn't seem very fair. So prosecutors previously asked the judge to block Reed's lawyers from arguing that others are to blame for O'Keefe. So here's the thing, I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV. However, lawyers, to the best of my knowledge, can absolutely introduce evidence that could point blame away from their client. Because if it's introducing reasonable doubt to the jury, that seems like it should be something that would have been allowed. But no, apparently it wasn't. Wow. The judge barred them from using third-party culprit defense during opening statements. Okay. The prosecution argued that Reed intentionally ran O'Keefe over with her car the night of after a night of heavy drinking. They stated that a piece of Reed's broken taillight was found at the scene, suggesting her vehicle was involved in the incident. So there was evidence of a troubled relationship between the two of them. Okay, I mean, we know that from the voicemail messages anyway. Reed's angry text and voicemails on the night were introduced as evidence to support what? Oh, I think they're saying that she had unalived him because they had like some tumultuous relationship. And they had claimed that Reed's behavior on the morning O'Keefe's body was found did not match that of someone unaware of an incident. The defense argued that Reed was... Are you guys finding this interesting? Do you want me to skip it? Because I got no... How does an expression go? I got no pony in the race. I got no horse in the race. I got no dog in the... Whatever the expression is. I'm happy to just move the fuck on unless you guys like want to hear this. But the defense argued that Reed was being framed as part of the law enforcement cover-up to protect the real perpetrators, suggesting that O'Keefe was beaten inside of the Albert household and then left outside to cross over in the snow. The defense showed the jury a lack of integrity into the investigation. Inappropriate text messages about Reed between Proctor and personal acquaintances, including Proctor's assessment of Reed's attractiveness and his hope that she would, oh God, unalive herself. Ooh. Okay, please do Prince. So I looked into him once before, half away. He was not very forthcoming with me, darling. Okay. Okay, so as we already know, she was acquitted. It was a hung jury on the first trial. They tried her for a second time. I'll go through this as quickly as I can, guys. Her attorneys tried to file a double jeopardy claim, but it was denied. Prosecution presented evidence related to her blood alcohol level, a timeline, a toxicology report. Testimony included expert opinions. This is the important thing here. Expert opinions, because that's all it essentially is. Expert opinions. Oh shit, I lost where I was. Opinions on the alignment of injuries to O'Keeffe's with the alleged reverse impact from Reed's Lexus. The defense opened, challenging the cause of O'Keeffe's injuries, suggesting alternative explanations, including a potential dog bite. Dog bite? Okay. Anyway, she was found not guilty on the 3 major charges, and she received 1 year probation. Okay. Oh, civil lawsuit. Okay, hold on. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, this I did not know. I didn't know anything actually. On August 23rd, 2024, the O'Keeffe family filed a wrongful unaliving lawsuit against Reed and 2 bars in Canton, accusing Reed of hitting and unaliving O'Keeffe, and the bars of over-serving her. The judge in the civil case, William White, ordered a stay of proceedings until the criminal case was resolved to protect Reed's Fifth Amendment rights. Okay, so actually it hasn't even been resolved yet. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here. Impact on the community. It caused division among residents. Someone got into a confrontation outside of a... These people drink a lot. That is what I want to tell you. Someone got into a confrontation outside of a bar. Like, these are grown fucking adults. Maybe it's me and I'm just being a judgmental bitch. But like, I'm sorry, I don't know, is this what people like in Canton, Massachusetts? Is this like the culture of Canton, Massachusetts? People, like adults that are middle-aged, just go out and drink all the fucking time? And if so, God bless. I don't know what to say about that. Okay. A lot more blah, blah, blah. Let's just look at unpopular media. July 2024, Netflix announced a 3-part documentary in the case. Oh, I guess they haven't released it yet. Okay. A whole bunch of documentaries. I actually said doctored, because that's probably what's going on here. They're not actual documentaries, they're doctored documentaries. A whole bunch of doctored documentaries had come out in that time since then, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good. Shall we get into the psychic energy reading? Yes, hell yes. First, let's consciously hydrate y'all, but not beer and not alcohol, because it's not Canton, Massachusetts, and we're grown fucking adults, and it's the middle of the fucking day. Not that I'm judging anybody for drinking. If it's wine o'clock where you live, you do you, boo. It's not where I live, and I don't drink anyway. Okay. Half away. Okay, not to keep getting off subject. When you can, Chris Benoit, thank you. You're very much appreciated. Enjoying the read. So I actually did look into Chris once before. You are welcome to leave a comment on any video, and I will share a link for the AMA in which I had looked into his energy. Okay, honey? I think we're ready to get to the goods, right? Are you ready? I'm ready. Ready? Let's do it. Okay. Now, first and foremost, for anybody that is new here, I'm just going to remind you that even though we started by going over the 3D facts of the Wikipedia case, I had no knowledge of this in advance. The only thing I had known about the case was he had been unalived. There was a big brouhaha around the case because did his girlfriend do it? Did the girlfriend not do it? A bunch of online sleuths were saying she didn't do it. The evidence didn't match that she had done it. This is all I had come into it with, no knowledge in advance. I am an energy reader. I have an expertise in post-cognitive energy reading, which means I can see energy of things that have already occurred in the past. But I am also a medium. So in this case, I was accessing John O'Keeffe's energy through mediumship. I did not do any post-cognitive energy reading. This is all his energy on the other side communicating with me. Just wanted to share that in advance. So here we go. John O'Keefe's energy as reported to me when I had connected to him. As soon as I had connected, and by the way, if you want to know when I did this reading, like what the date was, I like to do this to you guys, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed it. I like to sometimes delay because I like to increase the suspense, right? I think the payoff is so much more enjoyable when there's a little bit of suspense, right? Maybe it's just me that's saying that. Maybe you disagree. And you are certainly entitled to disagree on that. When the fuck did I look into this? I don't have any dates on anything, which is very unlike me. Because in addition to not like jiving with lazy texters, I also really don't like I really like to actually date my notes. There's no dates here. Wow, right. So unlike you, girlfriend. I don't know when this was. I don't have any dates. I'm sorry, guys. If memory serves correct, it was sometime after Charlie Kirk had been unalive, though. So it's sometime, I would say, in the last month and a half, something around there. Jada Love, Faye, can you tell us what you got from him? I'm getting to it, girl. I'm getting to it. Gretchen, I'm lurking, making dinner as I listen. You know, I like a good lurking session myself, Gretchen. So, honey, you do you, boo. All right, I think that was enough suspense. Let's get to the reading, shall we? Okay. John O'Keefe. As soon as I had connected to John O'Keefe's energy, he had said, "It's interesting how everyone is suddenly so savvy and awake to this idea of a fall guy, or a patsy, but specifically as it relates to those that are committing crimes, but they fail to see it about those that were unalived." To which, intuitively, I was getting the sense that he was referencing the idea that Taylor Robinson is the fall guy for the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. Right? Like everybody now, and this is what John was essentially sharing with me, everybody is so savvy now to the idea, yeah, there could be fall guys for crimes that are committed. Not just a Taylor Robinson, there's probably other ample evidence of people that one could connect the dots, maybe like, I don't know, Lee Harvey Oswald, things of that nature. But they're not savvy to the idea that there could be a fall guy in the case of someone being unalived. As in the person that was unalived was a fall guy. See where he's going with this? To which I had asked him if he was the fall guy for something in that town. And he had told me not a fall guy, but, quote, sacrifice. So I asked who or what was he sacrificed to, and he had said, quote, the beast, end quote. So I had asked, what beast? And he had said, the city of Canton itself. And he had told me it's not just one person or one entity, it's everything. Because the city is no ordinary city. To which I had informed him, I know. And if you had seen the video that I had done on Delphi, which I will link down below if you are part of the replay crew, or even if you are alive and you have not alive if you are live with me, but you have not yet seen it. This is something that had come in very strongly. So if you want to get a little additional context, you're going to want to check that video out. So he had told me the city of Canton is no ordinary city, to which I had told him, I know. And he had said to me, that's why he had waited to come into me. because John O'Keefe had been on my list for, I would say, at least a good 6 to 9 months. And even though his energy wasn't coming into me, I was committed to keeping his name on the list. Like, I occasionally go through it and I'll take off names if they've been on the list for like 6 months or longer and the person's energy just will not come into me. So I occasionally go through the list, I clean it up, I take names off. I was committed to keeping his name on the list and coming back to him as many times as it would take until his energy would agree to come into me. So when I tell you I tried repeatedly to connect to his energy to no avail, it's because I did try repeatedly. And he was telling me he was waiting for me to learn that Canton was not any ordinary city before his energy agreed to come into me. Because, as he had told me, I myself was still putting the pieces together, and until the last piece of the puzzle slid into place, as it did with my reading on Delphi, he was refraining from coming in. Because he wanted me to see how this town is not an ordinary town, but it is one that is existing outside of our societal norms, and it is outside the regular laws of man and country, and that it is truly laughable. Now, this is according to John, that it is truly laughable how anyone could think these 50 states are united, as in the 50 so-called states of the United States of America. So he's saying it is laughable how anyone could think these 50 states are united, because they are not. There are towns that exist outside the laws of the United States, and Canton was one such town. Now, if this is the first that you are hearing about this, and you're like, what the actual is going on? So this is what had been shown to me when I was looking into the Delphi case, and this is not where I'm sharing it and I'm like, you don't have to see the video on Delphi because it's very detailed. But this is just kind of like a crash course to bring anyone that's not apprised of this up to speed. What had been shown to me is there are some cities that they're not real cities. And I know that sounds crazy. So imagine, if you will, just like here in California where I live, we have Universal Studios, and Universal Studios is an actual lot. It's a movie lot where they film movies and TV shows, and everything looks like, if you just were watching what they were filming, everything would look real. But they're just like facades of buildings. Let's say they're like filming a scene where somebody's walking down the street. So instead of getting permits to go to an actual place, if it's just like one little scene, instead of going and getting a permit from the city, and here, I live here, I get this all the fucking time. We'll get notices like on the door to my building, like that they're doing filming in the neighborhood. And they need to inform the residents of the neighborhood that the streets may be closed, that you might not have street parking, things like that. It's a big endeavor. So if they're doing like a big motion picture, it makes sense that they would need to get permits and they would do all of that. If it's just like one quick little scene of people walking down the street, they're not going to do that. So they would film something like that at the Universal City lot, the studio. So from the outside, the buildings would look real, but there's nothing on the back of it. It's just a facade of a building. Now, this is not to say that these are not real cities and they're like literally movie lots. No. It's more to say, look at them like they're towns that function the way the town in the movie The Truman Show operated. It's a real town, as in people really live there, right? The main character in the movie, played by Jim Carrey, lived there. Other people lived there. His best friend lived there. His parents lived there. He had neighbors and all that shit. But there were also, it wasn't a real city because it served as some sort of a facade. It's just a more detailed facade than like that street on the lot in Universal Studios. So do people really live there? Yeah, but it's not really a town. And this is exactly what he was sharing with me, that Canton was one such town. Now this is something that I had also, and yes, Michelle Honey, I have done a reading on the Murdo case. If you go to my playlist of all my true crime videos, you will see it there. There is a video on the Murdo case. Hold on, let me just pause and say hi to everybody new that had come in. Hello, empathic veteran. I am so glad that you are here, darling. Sylvia's daughter. Hi, all. Poor John. Oh, it's gonna get crazy. Sylvia's daughter. Massachusetts is a commonwealth, not a state, I believe. So I don't know what that actually means. Excuse my ignorance. That's not what he's saying either. What he was saying, and what was shown to me when I looked into Delphi, is some cities, they're like not real cities. Now, the first time I had seen this, and I didn't completely understand what I had seen because it was like one piece in a big puzzle, and I didn't have all of the other pieces, which is again why John was saying he was waiting for me to like get up to speed on all of this. The first time I had ever seen this was when I had looked into Columbine. What do we know happened in Columbine? There was a very big and notable school pow-pow event. So when I had looked into Columbine, it was shown to me that was not a real city either. Some other notable examples of not real cities is Uvalde, Texas. They appear to be a real city, but they're not actually real cities. And if you want to understand why, keep watching. I get to it. He shared that with me. Gretchen, yes, Massachusetts is a commonwealth, not a state. I don't know what that means, guys. But for this, it means the same thing. Thank you, guys. Thank you for that. What is a commonwealth? If anybody wants to educate me, I am here for it. Like I want to know. You know what? No one gatekeeps on this channel. I got an extra phone right here. Let's look up what the fuck a commonwealth is so anybody that is watching either now or in the replay will all know together. What is a commonwealth? Okay, so the AI overview of what a commonwealth is. A commonwealth is a political community founded for the common good. And the term can refer to several things. A group of states or countries with political connections, like the Commonwealth of Nations, a self-governing territory, like Puerto Rico, or in the US, one of 4 states, Massachusetts being one of them, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Virginia, and Kentucky, that simply uses the term as a synonym for state. The 4 U.S. states use the name to emphasize that their government is founded for the, quote, common good. The title is mostly a historical distinction with no functional difference in how the state government operates compared to other states. It reflects the founding era's anti-monarchical sentiments, with the term commonwealth used to denote a state founded for the common good. All right, now let me ask ChatGPT this actually. How does a commonwealth differ from a state? Functionally, how does a commonwealth differ from a state? Okay. Functionally, a commonwealth is basically the same thing as a state. In the United States, the word commonwealth is almost entirely symbolic. It reflects history, not actual legal power. We already know 4 states use the term. They have the same legal status as every other state. A commonwealth follows the U.S. Constitution, allegedly, supposedly, has a governor, has a state legislature, participates in federal laws, has the same court structure, pays federal taxes, and gets federal representation. There is no difference in rights, powers, or obligations. Commonwealth means the government is based on common consent of the people. It's a philosophical word chosen to emphasize that government is for the common good. The people are collectively... I'm sorry. Allegedly, supposedly, the people are collectively sovereign. Yeah, right. Maybe we would be if not for the cabal, but okay. Power isn't inherited or royal. It was symbolic, especially after the Revolutionary War, to express anti-monarchy values. That's it. No extra powers, no special limitations. Commonwealths don't get more autonomy. They do not get extra federal flex. Oh, I like that, flex. They do not get different criminal law structures, and their legal system functions exactly like any other U.S. state. So the term appears mostly in formal documents, in court cases, in government branding, on official seals like Commonwealth versus John O'Keefe. There we go. But the process, rights, and structures remain the same. So the bottom line is a Commonwealth equals a state. Different name, shared legal and functional reality. There we go. Now nobody has to explain it. We got ChatGPT. Simone, I'm listening while working, so just getting bits and pieces, but wow. I like that. I like the wow. There's going to be a lot more wow factors in here. I promise you that. But first I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to functionally hydrate. Okay. So, to recap. John is essentially sharing that Canton is not an ordinary... Let's try that again, Faye. Hello, Jamie. I'm glad you're here, Angel. So John O'Keefe is essentially sharing that Canton is not an ordinary town, but not because it's a commonwealth, or it's in a state that is a commonwealth, but one that is existing outside of our societal norms, outside the regular laws of man and country, and that from his perspective, it's truly laughable how anyone could think that these 50 states are united because they are not. Now, he's also not saying like we're going to have like a civil war or anything like that. He's more touching upon the fact that like how could we all be United States if there are some cities in states that aren't even real? That's more what he was getting at. And that there are towns that exist outside the laws of the United States, again, not because they're common laws, and that Canton was one such town. There we go. Let's proceed. Now, next thing he said, which is going to touch upon what I had shared about like the town looking like it was a real town. True, if one drove through, they might not think anything was amiss. Just as all the reporters that were there for Karen's trial likely felt that nothing was amiss, but that's because it's not for them. As in the fact that it's not a real town is not for random people that are passing through. It's for those that are in the know. Just like, again to reference the Truman Show, just like Truman, the entire show revolved around him, but he didn't know that he was, that his life wasn't even really his own life. That he didn't have the expectation of privacy because he was actually unknowingly a character in a TV show. And just like he didn't know, but the extras that were on set for the day and the long-term actors, such as his wife and his best friend, all knew that it wasn't a town, but it was in fact a movie set, right? So the fact of the matter is that it's not for everybody to know that these are not real towns. Truman didn't know, but his wife knew. The reporters that came to Canton for the Karen Reed trial didn't know. And I'm going to reveal to you a little bit later on if Karen knew. We get there, I promise. But he's saying the truth of it is not for them. Sylvia's daughter, Canton is a crucial part in the moving of people Something the evildoers were part of. John found out his big mistake. We're getting there, I promise, girl. So it's not for them, as in the reporters that were there, to know that it wasn't a real town. It's for those that live there to know, but not just those that live there, also those that abide by the laws of the land. But there's a distinction, because it's not the laws of our land, as in the collective United States, but as in the law of the land for those that are in the club. That's why Canton was no ordinary city. And what a twisted town it was. Truly, he had shared with me, Canton was a mess. A tangled mess of a spider's web. But imagine a web in a tornado. And that tornado had funneled things into the web, and they had all gotten trapped. So picture this, because when I was connected to John's energy, he literally gave me a visual representation. So in your mind's eye, while you are listening, imagine a big ass motherfucking spider's web. And a tornado comes into the spider's web. But the web is so big and it's so powerful and it's so reinforced that the tornado doesn't break the web. What the tornado does is it's funneling things into the web. So imagine, if you will, there's lawn chairs that are in the web, mailboxes are in the web, the post office is in the web, the courthouses are in the web, the lawyers, the judges, the police station, they're all in the web. But in the center of this big ass web is not a spider, but it's the police. Because the police run and rule the city of Canton. Just like the mafia used to run New York City, in Canton, Massachusetts, the police rule everything and they rule everyone. And there is no loyalty in Canton for their brothers in blue, because if one stepped out of line, or if one threatened to blow the whistle on the crime in the town, they would be brutally and efficiently and without any question asked, offed, as in unalived. This is John sharing this with me. Just like John was. Because while he had been an officer, he wasn't necessarily one that knew the corrupt order of things in Canton. So essentially, using, these are not my words, even though if you've watched my other content, you've heard me say this, he was essentially a useful idiot. So just like low-level Freemasons, or even you could have like a Mason of the 33rd degree, they think they're I'm a Mason of the highest order. Not actually the case, not actually so. They're a useful idiot, they think so. Those are the people that you're gonna see on like some, maybe a YouTube video or an online forum, and they're like, I'm a Mason of the 33rd degree. I can tell you unequivocally, there is nothing untoward happening in the Masonry. It's a brotherhood, it's a fraternal organization. They're a useful idiot. They are being used for exactly the purposes of what it is that they are doing. So essentially a useful idiot. Was John a real cop? Yes. A real cop in a not real city, because he wasn't in the club. But was he in the inner sanctum? No. But when he started to stumble onto something and noticed something about the arrests in Canton, and then it didn't seem like the Canton Police Department was interested in keeping crime down or keeping criminals off the street, that raised a major red flag to him. In fact, it seemed there was some, what did I write here? Some incentive put into place, and he began to suspect that the cops were paid off. So he did what any good but clueless cop did, and he had gone to internal affairs. Now, internal affairs, for anyone that doesn't know what it is, it's a police organization, and it is supposed to be what's the word I'm looking for? Where they're not going to disclose who it is. Like, essentially, it's a police organization where other police officers, if they see that there is some corruption happening in the police department, they can go to internal affairs and their identity will be protected, and they can report on other fellow police officers, and an internal affairs investigation would be launched. But it is supposed to protect the identity of the police officer that goes and reports on what it is that he is seeing, if he's seeing any level of corruption. So, for example, imagine there's a police officer and he sees a cop is getting paid off by a drug dealer. That would definitely merit being reported to internal affairs. But if the cop that was reported on knew that he was reported on by a witness, well then what was to prevent him from offing the cop that had witnessed it? So that's why it is supposed to not disclose the identity of that first police officer. So John had shared that he began to suspect that the cops were being paid off, not necessarily by drug dealers. That was just my example. So he had done what any good but clueless cop did, and he had gone to internal affairs, and now he used the word much more succinctly, but I can't use it, so I have to dance around it, and now he's out of his body. Imagine that, he had said. A cop unalived for doing his job and not being corrupt. Hold on, I'm going to catch up on comments. Gretchen, I had heard that he was possibly undercover and found out about something, and that is why he was unalived. Michelle, holy shit, well, you were saying a web. A damn spider came down on its web. That's what we call synchronicities. Jada Love, I heard that as well, Gretchen. Kristen's had a mind-blown emoji for what Michelle had shared. Michelle, sorry. Try saying huge bag of money came down. I love that. Oh, yeah. I got you, Michelle. That's fucking crazy. So yeah, John is saying, so he had done what any good but clueless cop did, and he had gone to internal affairs, and now he is out of his body. Imagine that, a cop unalived for doing his job and not being corrupt. And Karen, well, he had some thoughts to share about Karen. Well, now that he's on the other side, he can see it wasn't real. The thing between them, it wasn't real. Because she was some sort of a distraction or a plant. Definitely not a reward, because theirs was a sometimes volatile relationship, mostly on Karen's part. She yelled a lot, according to John. And she yelled a lot at him specifically. And now he knows why. Because she didn't want to be in the relationship, and it definitely wasn't real to her. So again, going back to the example I had used of the Truman Show, the character played by Jim Carrey thought that he was really married to the character played by Laura Linney. And there's this really, really great scene. Like if I wasn't doing this live and if I recorded it, I would include this into the clip, into the video, but I can't. There's one great scene in the movie where he's actually looking at their wedding album. And there's a photo in the wedding album of Laura Linney doing this. Like her hand is at her side, but you can still see she's doing this. Like when they're at the altar, like making their vows. Like as in to say, this is not real and I'm negating it. Because to the character played by Jim Carrey, it was a real marriage. To the character played by Laura Linney, this was just a long-term character that she was playing, but it wasn't real to her. So John O'Keefe is essentially saying the same thing. To Karen Reed, it wasn't a real relationship. She was meant, and if you want to know, then what the fuck was she doing in it if it wasn't real? Don't worry, he tells us. She was meant to extract all she could from him and see if she could deter him from pursuing the truth. But she wasn't soft. In fact, she could be quite hard and unyielding, and when she couldn't get him to back down, she'd start to yell like crazy and give him the cold shoulder and not speak to him for days on end. And that had just caused him to withdraw and to stop talking to her about anything of great importance, and the relationship stalled. As in, they were together, quote unquote, but not actually together in a growing and the relationship going somewhere together kind of way. So it's kind of like the relationship, hold on, let me finish reading it so I don't have to tell you what it was like because he told me what it was like. So more like a bookmark, a page holder, but not as in, this is my person, this is my forever person, and everything we do is to grow together and to establish some sort of a strong foundation in a relationship. Because it wasn't. It wasn't healthy, it wasn't real, and they weren't each other's person because, as he had pointed out, the relationship was a distraction and she was a plant. And for all the yelling and cold shouldering, he didn't know why she stayed with him. Not then, anyway. But he does now. And it all makes so much sense to him why she behaved as she did. She was like, here we go, she was like Jim Carrey's wife in The Truman Show. An actress cast to play a girlfriend, but it was no role she had wanted. She was used too, and he has no ill will towards her. She did what she had to in order to survive. And she has, and for that he is happy for her that she was acquitted because she had not unalived him, by his own words. You want to know who did unalive him? It was his brothers, as in the fellow police officers. But when he had said the word brothers, he spit the word out like it was poison, like it tasted all wrong on his tongue. Because he sees the fallacy in it. They weren't brothers, not like police in other towns, but a series of handlers. And when the handlers failed, and Karen failed, and he wouldn't back down, he was beat and left, again, I cannot say the word, but left to cross out of his body outside in the snow. Now, this is where he had said names, and I had no fucking clue who these people were, but he shared the names, so I went with it. And Brian had called to let Kenneth know. Now, Brian, when I was reading at the top, I came to understand was a fellow police officer. No fucking clue who Kenneth is. But he is sharing, Brian had called Kenneth to let Kenneth know it was done, as in he had been unalived. Because he was sacrificed to Kenneth and to those that are in power. Because those in power, with the most power and the most to lose, don't want to be unseated by those below them, which was certainly what John was, below Kenneth. And John could have blown the lid off of everything. Don't worry, there's more. I'm going to catch up on comments first. Oh, honey, I'm sorry, Michelle. Michelle said I have a phobia of spiders. Me too, girl. Gretchen, she sounds hella toxic, and she was hella toxic. Gretchen, it didn't count. It didn't count because it wasn't real to her. Gretchen, sorry if this was addressed before, but does he know why there is or was so much tragedy around his family, sister and brother-in-law, past, etc.? It wasn't addressed, and he didn't share that with me either. Gretchen, I feel bad for those kids losing their parents, uncle, guardian, and even grandparents with dealing with all of that. Okay, so that I guess makes sense why his niece was living with him, because the parents were no longer alive. Holy shit. Simone, much empathy for the children for sure. You know what? I can look into it at the end, okay, honey? But I want to just finish getting through all of the information, love. So his energy now is resolute. Even more so than it was when he had been alive. Because he always had an inner compass of right versus wrong, which is why he had gone to internal affairs. Which is why he'd wanted to see the city he took an oath to protect get better. To bring crime down in fact, not in theory. Right? Because what did he share? It seemed like the police in the town had some sort of an incentive in place not to actually bring crime down. So they were just police officers in theory, not in actuality, even though they were real police officers, but they weren't doing the actual duties of police officers. Neither were the judges, and neither were the lawyers, because again, what did he share? The police station was in the web. In fact, it was the center of the web. The lawyers got pulled into the web. The courthouse got pulled into the web. So essentially, everyone in the town of Canton is owned by the police. The judges are owned by the police. The lawyers are owned by the police. Everyone in the town is owned by the police. To bring crime down, in fact, not in theory. To protect and to serve in reality, not in theory. He just didn't see and didn't know what he didn't know, and that the city was a tangled web of corruption and deceit. So I asked if he'd like to see the truth come out and for justice, real justice, to be served, as this is one of the questions I myself as an energy reader is asked about cases like this. And he had leveled with me and says he does want the truth to come out, but not for himself, but in fact for all of us. He already found out, because he has reviewed his soul contracts and soul lessons, that he was not destined, quote unquote, to become an old timer. His soul had chosen, prior to incarnating, not to be a useful idiot, so to say, but to serve as a piece in a much bigger puzzle. And if not for being unalived at that time and in that way, it would have happened within a year's time. And it would have revealed a different kind of corruption in the town of Canton. This is what he is sharing. His soul is on the other side. His soul has gone through the afterlife bazaar. He spent time reviewing his soul contracts and his soul lessons, and he understood. He did not come to live to old age. His soul completely agreed he was going to serve as some sort of a piece in a bigger puzzle. And if it was not going to be him being unalived in this way, it would have been some other kind of a way. It would have revealed a different kind of corruption. A so-called drug bust gone wrong that was really a setup. But something that was designed to disclose the truth. It was not his soul's choice to stick around in a toxic loop with Karen and to be The actual Karen, Karen Reed, not as in bitchy Karens. No offense to anyone that has the name Karen and is a bitch, because I'm a petty bitch too. My name just isn't Karen. And to be the unknowing, useful idiot forever. He came here to do something, and he did it. Outside of that, it's not his to say what comes next, and he is content to allow the chips to fall where they may. And as to if he can see on the other side if justice will be served, well, that is something even he cannot say, even from the other side, and even with all he sees and all he may know. Because that's not his role to play. Not anymore. Not to reveal that from the other side, but to allow his life and his unaliving to be the reveal. As in, he doesn't have to reveal anymore from the other side, because his unaliving is the reveal. And to that he asks rhetorically, did his life and unaliving not do that? He played his part, and the rest is for all of us. That concludes the channeled energy read or mediumship session with John O'Keefe. Now I will take any questions that you all have, and I will catch up on comments. I'm not getting off just yet. That just concludes the channeled mediumship session with John O'Keefe directly. Okay. Jada Love, are these people Odin or Freemasons? I'm getting a sense that they're more Freemasons than they're followers of Odin, but that is an excellent question, Jada, especially in light of what had come out in the reading that I had done on Delphi. Jada, not good people take law into their own hands. Well, as he had said, so I think this was before you had joined the live stream, Jada, so you might want to go back and watch the first part of it. He had said they operate outside of the laws of the United States of America. Jada, it has a connection with the Queen. Well, the Freemasons do, but they also have a connection with a lot of other, not just strictly like monarchies, has a connection with the Pope, has a connection with all monarchies around the world, but I don't think that John O'Keefe specifically has a connection to the Queen of England, no. Simone, I couldn't stand Judge Canone. I think I'm pronouncing the name right. I don't know if I am. And Gretchen said Judge Canone was insufferable. So this goes back to what he had said. This is not my personal opinion. He had said the entire canton is like a web. A web with a tornado, and everything got pulled in. But it wasn't a spider in the middle of the web. It was the police department. And what was being sucked into the web, as in, what did the police department of Canton own? The judges. The lawyers. There you go. There you have it. That's why you guys were intuiting the incongruency with how this judge was acting in the case. That's why you couldn't stand the judge. Jada, there are men of the land, and I think that's what's called. I have to check. Those people don't believe in anything but the land. They don't believe that they have to answer to anybody. Kind of sounds like that what was the case going on here. But they do have to answer to somebody, but they're answering to the police in the town of Canton, because that's who runs the actual city. Go me, I caught up on, no, okay. Yeah, Jada, no government entity, because they're outside of the laws of the land. As in, they're not operating, whether it's a commonwealth or it's a state, they're not operating under the laws of the land of the United States of America. As in, they are acting outside of the Constitution. As in, they are acting only to their own set of laws, which are not our laws. It's a completely different set of laws. It's the laws of the Freemasons, it's the laws of the club, It's the laws of the Cabal. It's the laws of the 13 bloodline families. It's not actually the laws of the land. Because again, they don't worship the same God we worship. We worship the divine, they worship Satan. That within itself, they're operating outside of the laws of what 99, the 99 percenters, us, the people that they can't stand, we don't even worship the same God. They don't even respect us because they think we worship like the loser God because they worship Satan. We don't worship the same God even. Gretchen, I will say that it was very apparent during the trial how incestuous that town is. Okay, that's really, really interesting. So someone had told me, and if you guys know about this, you can confirm or deny it. I don't know, because I certainly never looked into it. But I think I had been told something to the effect of like, who was it? Someone was, I think like a fellow police officer was testifying on the stand, and they were answering the questions that the attorney was asking, but they were looking at they were looking at Karen as they were saying it. Like they were trying to shake down Karen, as in they were essentially trying to like reinforce or make her remember her role in all of this, right? Crazy. This whole fucking craze is crazy. But, this is just to me like another piece in the puzzle. And I'm going to put this video not just into like the true crime playlist. I'm going to put it into like the essential viewing playlist, along with my video on the Freemasons, along with the video on the club, along with Delphi, along with Jean-Benet Ramsey, because it's just another piece in a puzzle of reinforcing and building out this picture of the actual world we live in and the actual country we live in, because it's not the one that we think we live in. Gretchen, yes. Crazy, right? All right, now, honey, Gretchen, if you want to give me the names of the other people in his family that were unalived, I can look into that for you, and I can tell you what's being shown to me, why there's been all of these tragedies that have been befalling the family, okay? But I need everybody's name. Like, just giving me, like, the last name O'Keefe. I need, like, everyone's, the people that were unalived, or that crossed over. Jada, nobody else is supposed to know. Because again, it's not for us, right? I don't know if you were in the live stream when John had said this. It's not a real city, but anyone that's there that's not in the know, they're not going to know that. How many reporters were in there when Karen Reed was on trial? They didn't know that it wasn't a real city. Gretchen, I don't know the sister and brother-in-law. Here, let's see if I can actually find it, okay? Again, I have a phone right here. Like, why am I not? Hold on. Okay. What was John O'Keefe's sister and brother-in-law's name? Here we go. John O'Keefe's sister was Kristen O'Keefe Forbush, and his brother-in-law was Stephen Forbush. They passed away in 2013 and 2014 respectively, and John O'Keefe became the guardian of their two children. She crossed over due to a brain tumor in 2013, and his brother-in-law crossed over due to a heart attack a few months after his wife in 2014. Wild. Apparently there's some online conspiracy that his brother-in-law had crossed over due to an overdose. What forum? Oh, it's some Facebook thread. Did John O'Keefe's brother-in-law really overdose on his wife's grave? Where do people get this? Someone says we don't know for sure, but I think it's true. As in, they think he really did OD over the grave, because that's not what you tell kids. It was a disgusting tactic to only make Proctor. Who's Proctor? Can somebody tell me? Anyway, this person is saying it was a disgusting tactic to make Proctor look worse. That town has a history of hiding. That's for damn sure. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to ask you all a question. Do you think somebody would unalive themselves to make, I don't know who this Proctor is, but whoever Proctor is, that somebody would unalive themselves to make somebody in the town look bad? Just pause for a second. Don't listen to me because I'm not even going to weigh in. Go to your inner knowingness. Does that resonate with your own personal inner knowingness? I'm not saying a fucking word. Okay. Gretchen, there's just so much trauma for those kids, which I'm going to remind you is also their soul contract. Also, just like John O'Keefe agreed, he knew he wasn't going to live to a ripe old age. These kids agreed to this before they were born. Proctor is the former state trooper that did a bad job. Oh, investigating the case. He was the one that was fired, right? Thank you, Gretchen. Halfway is everything light and evil around us, and we are just not in tune to that frequency or another realm? Great question. So the Cabal is sometimes referred to as the shadow government. So look at it more that way. We are kept in the dark, just again as in the Jim Carrey character in the Truman Show was kept in the dark. We just don't know the way that the world actually operates. But here's the thing. We are still responsible for our own frequency. That is why I always share with you guys at the end of every video I do, stay in the high vibration. Because when you raise your vibration, irrespective of a shadow government that may or may not be operating not just our country, but every country, not just our government, but every government, irrespective of that, that's a low vibration. If we raise our vibration and we're high vibe, it doesn't matter what they want to do to us. We're not a vibrational match. They cannot permeate us. They just cannot. We're tuned into a different radio frequency. They could want to broadcast bad vibes out to the world, but if they're only broadcasting it to 92.7 and we're tuning our radio frequency to 100.3, it doesn't matter what they're going to transmute. We're not going to hear it. So, please do not give away your sense of autonomy to some shadow government or any dark entity, because as long as you stay in your own lane, so to say, as long as you stay in a high vibration, doesn't matter what they want to do to us, they cannot. Please keep that in mind. Jada Love, they are all evil. Gretchen, no they wouldn't, but maybe because his grief over his wife, possibly. Jada, maybe it's the cartels that run this city. It was shown to me it's the police, honey, not the cartels. You want to know a city that is in part run by the cartels? Moscow, Idaho. Not shown to me about Canton, shown to me about Moscow. If you want to know more about that, go to my true crime playlist. Go to the video that I had done on the Idaho 4. There's a video on Brian Koberger and there's a video on the Idaho 4. Watch that entire video if you haven't seen it. I do talk about the Freemasons and I do talk about the cartels. Gretchen, talk about the soul contract, true about the soul contract, but it makes my heart hurt. That is because you are a compassionate, kind person. And that is not a character flaw. Gretchen, being empathic is a beautiful thing. But also knowing the soul contract is It's not going to lessen what we feel here. It's hopefully going to relieve some of the anxiety and the stress that we feel in our head. It's not going to change what we feel here. Jada, she was a spy on him. Yes, I would say so. He used the word, I will tell you what he had used, but I would say yes, based on what he had shared. He had said that she was a distraction and a plant. And that it was not a real relationship to her, and that she was meant to extract all she could from him. Yes, which definitely lines up with her being a spy, and to see if she could deter him from pursuing the truth. So yes, yes, I would agree with that, Jada. Very, very good assessment. Do you all have any other questions? If not, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to do a little bit shorter today. Because I know, here's the thing. First of all, I was live just a couple of days ago. We're going to do our usual Friday night long-ass hangout tomorrow night. So because of that, I want to not necessarily do like an incredibly long live stream tonight or today or whatever time it is we're in your time zone, but to keep it more just connected to this case in particular and not to make it about every other thing that we might want to discuss. We'll save that for tomorrow. Jada Love, she is educated and look how much money she makes. That goes to show in a town like Canton, that's not a real, it's not a real city, even successful people can be owned and operated, right? Go back to any of the celebrity readings that I had done. I'm going to share with you guys, like there was such an aha moment for me when I had looked into the energy of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Like even Angelina Jolie, when she wanted to end her marriage to Brad Pitt, she couldn't just pull the plug. She had to actually get permission. Because even her and even him are owned and operated. And at that time, they were like the elite of the elite in all of Hollywood. And even they had to get permission. So very successful people can be owned and operated. Hey, look at our presidents. She was spying on him. Yes. So do you all have any other questions? If not, we can advance. Not because I don't love you guys. I love you dearly. Actually, how about this, just for fun? What do you say we pull out my new tarot deck? Let's pull some cards, if you guys want, that pertains to John O'Keefe, Karen Reed, and the city of Canton. What do you guys say? Only if you want to, only if you're here for it. Otherwise, I'm not going to force this on anybody. Free will reigns supreme, especially free will in my community, especially in my live streams when I can communicate with you guys in real time. Also taking into account that there is definitely always a time delay in comments that you share and me seeing them. But if you want, I shall. Half away, thank you for your time. You are most welcome. Thank you for joining the live. I'm glad that you were here. There are more of us in the room than there are thumbs ups. So, hey, Dorina, I'm so glad that you're here, honey. Tuned in really, really quickly. You know what, honey? You're not gonna have to do anything. We're getting ready to wrap it up though. So if you want to catch the beginning, I suggest watching the replay. Yeah, it's okay, honey. It's okay. Because here's the thing, this is the second time I'm live this week, Ramina, and we're still doing our long hangout live stream tomorrow. But I'm glad that you're here, honey. And I was actually just offering for anybody that wanted to, we can take out the cards. We can pull a couple of cards on this case if anybody wants. Bobby Chambers, Carolina, you're so beautiful. Have an awesome day. Thank you, but I'm not Carolina. But as long as you're not a troll, you can call me anything you want to. My handyman the other day called me by a different name. And then he caught himself. He's like, wait, that's not your name. I was like, it's okay. I get called all sorts of weird shit. Like, you can call me whatever the fuck you want. I have a very strong internal sense of self. Like, it's not a threat to my control or any sort of a perceived slight if somebody calls me by the wrong name. So it's okay. You can call me Carolina, honey. I'm okay with that. I'm not saying nobody wants me to do the cards because I haven't gotten any response to it. So I'm not going to force it. But what I am going to ask, North Carolina, North Carolina, I am going to ask that if you have not yet clicked the thumbs up button, please do so. It's a great, yes, I do, yes, go for it, Romina. It's a great way to, for free, support a content creator. Just click the thumbs up button. Romina, were you shown that Canton is connected to the other cities? What do you think, honey? There's no right or wrong answer, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, and if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. But, what do you think? What does your own internal knowingness tell you about the city of Canton, Massachusetts, Romina? Kristen, the cards are cool, but if no one else is interested, honey, you can be interested and you can say you're interested, my darling. Romina, unless you answered it already. I did. It's in the video a little bit, it's in the live stream, but a little bit earlier on. But again, this is a really great opportunity, Romina, for you to actually tap into your own inner knowing. Because I think the next part of being an energy reader is helping you guys connect to your own intuition as well. Romina, I'm sure it is, but no idea in which particular. Go back to the beginning and watch it. There's a lot of good juicy tidbits in this live stream. I'll watch the replay then. So I will put timestamps after I get off of here. Hopefully soon after I get off, maybe not like immediately. Although I will certainly try to, because there was a very, very long introduction to the facts by way of reading the Wikipedia information, because I didn't know any of it. So if you are already up to speed with everything that happened in the case and you don't want to watch all of that, there will be a timestamp. You can just skip the fuck ahead to the energy reading. Are we good, guys? No, I don't need to go, honey. I can stay on a little bit longer. I was gonna go grocery shopping, but like, honestly, would I rather stay here and pull cards than go grocery shopping, especially when I can go tomorrow? Yeah. Especially when it's raining, also, yeah. So if you guys want me to pull a couple of cards, I will. Kristen, my other message didn't go through. Hold on, honey. I gotta turn off because I only have it set up to the top messages, not all of them. Hold on a second, love. Okay, but here's the thing, Kristen. You're gonna have to ask it again because if it didn't show up the first time, me turning this on isn't gonna show it up. It's not going to make it show up. You're still going to have to ask it again. Romina, hey Kristen. Like it doesn't work when I change the chat setting. It doesn't change it retroactively. It just changes. Fuck Mercury. I need you to go fucking direct already. It just changes it for the future messages that come in. I did. No, I didn't. I changed the setting and it still didn't come in, honey. Thank you. We got at least one more thumbs up. Hooray. There's still more of us in here that have given a thumbs up, though. Kristen, I guess the universe doesn't want you to read the cards. Oh, no, hey, let's do it. Let's pull a couple of cards. Okay, I'm just going to remind you guys. Romina, I don't know if you saw yesterday's live stream. I made tarot cards. Steve graciously gifted me tarot cards, and yesterday was the big reveal on the cards. They're still fucking hella big, and I can't, like, there's too many of them. I can't shuffle them all together, and they're still new. They're a little stiff, but at least I won't do it on my lap. You can see me doing it here, and you'll know that I really am shuffling. Because I would want, if I was having a tarot reading done, and especially for, like, tarot readings that I watch on YouTube, I like to see them shuffling them. It's like a personal preference, though. I'm sure not everybody cares about that, but I do. Yes, Steve does rock. This is a great gift. Really great gift. And he didn't gift it to me. I'm the conduit. He gifted it to all of us. Because we all actually get to benefit from the cards, not just me. So stiff. The pink is super cute, isn't it? So pretty. I mean, for tarot cards. Ramina, what kind of questions are you taking for card pull? So in this case specifically about John O'Keefe, Karen Reed, the case, or Canton as a whole. And then tomorrow, this card fell out, I'm going to take it. Then tomorrow when we do the long hang, if you guys want me to also pull cards, I'll take personal questions then, okay? I'm not ignoring anybody by putting my back to you guys. I just want you to see that I'm really shuffling them. Kristen, I don't have any questions. I'm just here for the vibe. You know what? That's a good reason to be here. Jada, thanks, John. May your heart rest in power. I love that. This card fell out. I'm going to take that one as well. All right. Let's stick with the 2 cards, and if we need a clarifier, I'll pull a clarifier. But we got 2 cards that fell out while I was shuffling, so I'm going to say that we're going to take these. Ramina, would John have done anything differently knowing what he knows now? Also answered that earlier on in the live stream, Ramina. Oh. Guys, I only saw one of the 2 cards that fell out. Energy doesn't fucking lie. It doesn't matter where the energy comes from. If it comes from your own inner knowing, if it comes from vibes, if it comes from spidey senses, if it comes from tarot cards, if it comes from a reader, energy doesn't fucking lie. The first card I pulled out is the Matrix card. And what does the Matrix card say? I mean, I know because I wrote it, but in case you guys don't, and because this is backward and you can't see it, the Matrix card is conditioning, programming, illusion, social constructs and narratives, disempowerment, built to keep your mind obedient and your soul asleep. Does that not connect perfectly to everything that we discussed in this reading? Illusion, because the city of Canton wasn't real. Not the way that we understand cities to be real. The second card, upside down. The crown, which represents embodiment, authority, identity, ready to rule your realm. Upside down, which means it's an inversion of the energy. That's how I choose to read it. It's an inversion of the energy. So as in, the people, or us being the unknown 99%ers, we are not embodied. We do not have authority or true identity because we don't know that there are towns like this that exist outside the rule. And we are not, in fact, ready to rule our realm. Or another way of saying it is that we are not ready to, even though that's what it says on the card. We are not sovereign, and therefore we cannot. I mean, come on, guys. Are these cards not fucking perfect for this entire case? The Matrix and the Crown, but reversed? Energy doesn't fucking lie. Kristen, dude, I was typing the word energy, but decided on vibe. I love that. And I love that you got a little fire emoji there. Energy doesn't fucking lie, guys. I don't care. And I don't think we need to pull a clarifier. Like, I feel like that was as good as it's going to get. And you guys saw, I was shuffling. You saw the cards fell out. I took the cards that fell out. I was not orchestrating that. That's why I did it here. Energy doesn't lie. That's the bottom line. Ramina, what percent of Canton residents are owned and operated? Oh, that's a great, okay, unless you answered already. No, I didn't look into the percentage, but here's the thing, honey. I didn't answer the question about the percentage, but I kind of touched on some other things about the town as a whole. And if I answer that, I think it's going to ruin the experience of you watching the video all the way through. So I'm not answering it because I'm being difficult. I'm not answering it. That's a double negative. Hold on. I'm not answering it because I want you to actually get the full experience of watching the video from the beginning all the way through. But I can tell you this. There are certainly some people in the town that are not owned and operated. And anyone that passes through, such as the reporters that went there to cover the Karen Reed case, they're also not going to know that it's not a real town. That's all I can kind of like safely answer without giving anything away. But I'm sorry, that's probably very frustrating. You will get the answers you seek when you watch the video, my darling. Do we have any other questions that you guys might want me to look into, either intuitively or the cards, but as it relates to either John O'Keefe, Karen Reed, or Canton, Massachusetts, or anything that we discussed? It is super interesting. Very interesting. And if, which I know that you have, Romina, knowing what you know of my other content, like specifically things that I've come in like Delphi, knowing what you know, this is going to be like another piece in building out all of that information. It is really coming down now. Yeah, baby. Anybody else love the rain? Like love the rain? I love the rain. Can you guys see that it's coming down out there? Do you guys hear that it's coming down? I freaking love the rain. I am so fucking excited that it's raining right now. I know, so cozy. I have the heat on. The only thing that I'm missing is like a hot chocolate. I don't have good hot chocolate. And I don't like the hot chocolate that Starbucks makes. I only have like a Starbucks around. I mean, I have other local coffee shops, but I actually like Dunkin' Donuts hot chocolate, but the Dunkin' Donuts is not like close by. It's like the perfect weather for like a hot chocolate. If anybody has like a clean hot chocolate brand that you can recommend, please let me know. Especially around this time of year, like I just want at night when I'm reading, I want like a cozy hot chocolate. It's really hard to find good tasting hot chocolate brands that are clean though. A lot of them are not clean. They have garbage ingredients. That's why they taste so good. But I want it all. Call me whatever the fuck you want me, whatever you want to. Like, call me demanding. I want like a good, healthy, clean hot chocolate. If that makes me too much, maybe other people are not nearly enough. Maybe our food companies aren't enough if they can't even meet those bare minimum qualifications. Kristen, the rain, oh yes. Oh, you saw what I posted, right? The pluviophile, Let me find you a recipe, please, girl, please. I prefer dairy, but it doesn't have to be. I don't have milk in my house, like ever. Pip eats dry cereal. I'll on occasion eat cereal. I had like the 2 nights this week, like I was just like too fucking lazy. Like for my own dinner, I just ate corn checks, but I didn't have it with milk. I have it with rice milk because we just don't have milk in the house. It goes sour too quickly before anybody drinks it. Would I maybe get like a small thing of milk if it was going to be like the bomb.com hot chocolate? I would make an exception. Simone, homemade hot cocoa is so delicious. I tried so many recipes last year. I enjoy the rich, thicker hot chocolate. I agree with you. I want it to be sweet. I want it to taste like the unhealthy ones, but not be unhealthy. Kristen, Simone, I'm a milk hot cocoa girl. Water is yuck. Yeah. It doesn't taste the same. It tastes watered down. It tastes yucky. But like if it's an ingredient I could make with like rice milk, great. If I have to get milk, okay, fine. I'll get like whatever. I'll do it. Simone, water and hot cocoa is wrong unless hot water is all you have. Kristen, Simone, send your fave. Yeah, we're getting into cozy season over here. I am definitely going to need some hot chocolate recipes. Allie, equal exchange, brand organic hot chocolate. Brand or equal exchange. Oh, equal exchange is the brand. Hold on, I gotta write that down. I will never remember it otherwise. Where the fuck am I writing it down? Here we go. Hold on. Equal exchange. Where do I get it, honey? I don't think I could get that in Sprouts. Because I've definitely looked in Sprouts. I mean, not that I would remember it, but I remember I bought one and it was so rich that both Pip and I were like, ugh, it's time to vomit now. Like, we couldn't even drink it. Jada, Proctor was a police officer. Apparently, yes. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Oh, Whole Foods. Woo. Okay. Okay, I could do that. I could do Whole Foods for equal exchange hot chocolate. Thank you. I'm going to get it maybe even today. I'm going to have to bounce in the next six minutes irrespective because I got some errands I have to run before I pick Pip up. I got to bounce in the next 6 minutes. I'm going to see if I can actually make it to Whole Foods today because especially in weather like this, going into the weekend, do I want hot chocolate? Yes. How much do I want it? More than I can possibly express. Because it's also supposed to rain over the weekend here. And that is just heaven vibes. Rain over the weekend? Yes, sign me up for that. Hi, Iron Honey. Hi, all. I actually left a Melanie little live stream about John O'Keefe and other mass nonsense. Sad to be late. Honey, I am glad that you are here. Here's the thing, though. We're just actually wrapping it up. So you might want to go back to the beginning and watch the replay. I will put timestamps in. I promise you that. Even Target carries it. Okay, amazing. I am definitely not going to make it to Target, but I might make it to Whole Foods. Rumina, have to run. Love you. Love you, honey. I am so glad that you were able to join us even for a little while. Enjoy the replay whenever you have a chance to get back to it. We're doing better. We got some more thumbs up now. Do you think we can get... Do we think we can get a couple of more thumbs up to match the number of people that are in the room? I think we can do it. I have faith in you guys. I was at the dry cleaners earlier in the week. You know the Sharpies that I used for my deck? Okay. I don't know how this happened. Somehow I got like a gold Sharpie stain on my new beautiful pink shirt. It was the first time I was wearing it. I got a Sharpie stain. A series. Like one big little lump. Big little lump? That doesn't even make sense. One bigger than the rest stain and a bunch of little dots all over it of the gold Sharpie. First time I wore the shirt, I was freaking devastated. I took it to the dry cleaners. I showed it to the guy. He's like, Sharpie, I can't promise anything because sometimes when you try to, he's like, Sharpie it's designed to really not budge. Which is why it was the only thing I could use on these cards because they're shiny, right? They're not matte. He's like, sometimes when we try to take Sharpie out, it could actually make the stain worse. He's like, I can't promise we're going to be able to get it out. So I want you to know that in advance in case we ruin it. I was like, it's ruined either way. If you can't get the stain out, I'm not going to wear this again. It's got a bunch of like gold speckles all over it. Unless I just like make it a fucking free-for-all and I let Pip write all over it. You know, like what the fuck am I going to do with this shirt? So I was like, just go for it because it's ruined whether or not. But I was like, I have a really good feeling. I believe the stain is going to come out. And then this morning I went to go pick it up. He's like, we got it out. I was like, I knew it. I knew you guys were going to get it out. I had a good feeling about it. So vibes. Everything is vibes. I put the intention into it. It was going to get the stain out, and lo and behold, the stain came out. Vibes, friends, vibes. Jada Love. Yes, Faye, thanks. You're most welcome. Kristen, lemon oil usually... Oh my God, I did not know that. I'll know for next time. But on fabric, it takes it out? That's crazy good to know. Okay, like I didn't even know lemon oil was a thing. Kristen, you're like an encyclopedia of knowledge. That's amazing. Thank you, darling. We got 2 more minutes, friends, and then I'm gonna have to bounce. This is amazing because we did get more thumbs up. Thank you, friends. Jada Faye, is deconstruction a word they use these days for spying? Oh, destruction, not deconstruction. Is destruction a word I don't know, according to who, honey? Kristen, I love lemon essential oil, good for fevers also. See, that's what I mean. You have all this amazing good knowledge. Do you actually, since you have all this amazing good knowledge, do you have a good recommendation for a humidifier? Now that I have the heat on, because it's cold, Pip and I are waking up. I have when I wake up in the morning, I have a cough. My skin is dry. I wake up like my throat is dry. I have a headache. Pip, like he gets a cough. Like we need a humidifier. So I just put like the best rated one on Amazon into my cart. And I'll probably check out later because they're having like, good to know y'all. They started Black Friday a whole week early. But I'm going to wait because I'm like, well, if it's on sale now, maybe I don't know if I can wait though. That's the truth. Like I'm like, really, how much more could it go on sale? Maybe $5 more? Like is saving $5 worth like just feeling like shit when I wake up in the morning because the heat is on and I need a humidifier? I don't know. Kristen, humidifier? No, I never use one. In the meantime, do a simmer pot. I don't know about that. I think I'm just gonna get a humidifier. Because then I'm gonna have to like keep it running overnight. I don't know how I feel about that. Do you have a slow? No, I do not. No, I don't have a slow cooker. So I would have to. What I would need to do is I would need to put a pot on the stove and turn it down to like the lowest setting. But even that, if I put it on overnight, all the water is gonna evaporate or it's gonna boil. I'm gonna end up ruining a pot, so I can't do that. It was a good idea though. All right, friends, I have got to bounce. I need to go, hopefully make it to Whole Foods so I can get Equal Exchange Hot Cocoa brand. Free plug for the brand. And I have some errands I have to run before I pick up Pip. But thank you guys for being here. I love you all so much. We are going to do our long, regular Friday live stream, hang out. We'll do some cards, we'll do some fun, we'll do all the good things that we usually do on a Friday. Thank you again for being here. If you can, when you get off of here, please hype this video. If you have not yet clicked the thumbs up, please click the thumbs up. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. And I love you all so much. Thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you tomorrow. And this is your reminder until then to stay in the high vibration. I love you, and I shall see you all tomorrow. Good night.